Matt and Micah in the morning. Welcome back to Matt and Micah in the morning. This is Old Testament lesson 25 to be taught on May the 7th. Here we have the people crossing the Jordan River in order to enter the lands of Canaan. It's before they actually get into Jericho to make the walls come tumbling down. That'll be in the next lesson coming up here. Instead, what we get is after Moses dies and after the people mourn, then God appoints Joshua and he says, This is how I'm going to have you go into the promised land. Take the priests, have them carry the ark, the box of the covenant, walk into the middle of the river. It won't be a river. I'll dry it up. And take these stones for remembrance, so that when in the future your people pass by here as they will all the time, they will remember the time that I brought you across on dry ground. There's all these times that the Lord has us do things in remembrance of him. Even with the words there, you might be recalling the Lord's Supper. This do as often as you eat or drink it in remembrance of me. Likewise, we make the sign of the cross to remember our baptism, to remember that we're baptized into Christ. This is who we are. When God has us remember something, what it comes down to is who God has made us. So our family has recently read the Wing Feather Saga. It's a series of 4 books, and one of the central themes of this is of this series is to remember your name. Throughout the series, there are characters who will be kind of drawn into darkness, and the way to bring them out of it is to keep telling them, remember your name, remember who you are. There's a scene about halfway through The Lion King where you get Mufasa in the clouds saying, remember who you are. And it's this idea. Your identity is given to you by the Lord and by your parents, right? They get to choose your name. You get to choose your kids' names. And this is who you are. Likewise, we have God's own name placed upon us. And so we are baptized into Christ. This is the central thing about who we are. And so for the Old Testament people Israel, when they cross over into the Promised Land, they need to remember who they are, who God has made them, what he has promised them, how he has brought them through these 38, 40 years. And so they do a few things that they haven't done for a little while. Apparently they took a pause on celebrating the Passover when they were in the wilderness. I'm not really sure why that is, but I'm sure there's something there to it. And likewise, they took a pause on circumcising their males. And both of these are linked to God's promises and to remembrance. Just as the Lord remembers his covenant when he sees the rainbow in the clouds, so also God's people remember his covenant to send the Messiah, that the men can look down and remember, oh yeah, even through the act of procreation, which the Lord gives us, related to circumcision there, he will send the Messiah through us. This is his promise to us. Every time that husband and wife come together, they remember this promise. The Lord will send the Messiah. Every time that they celebrate the Passover, they remember God spared his people and showed his mighty power against all Egypt, but he saved us. Thanks be to God. And so it is at various times and in various ways that the Lord has his people remember who they are, remember their name, or remember the name that the Lord has placed upon them. Israel, he fights with God, or God fights for him. And you, Christian, one who are baptized into Christ, remember who you are. We'll see you next time on Matt and Micah in the morning.